message to the people of Oldham who closed down the arms factory. Now let me tell you, we are being swamped with propaganda here, swamped with propaganda about what has happened last week, and we need to be resistant to it. We need to be very, very resistant. We need to look for the truth, and we need to look for the truth in our hearts, and we need to think about what happened. And people will say, the attack last week was an atrocity. You may well say that, it may well be true. The defense minister of Israel called the people in Gaza human animals. Well, James Baldwin, the great black writer, had a thing to say about that. He said, you put people in cages, they behave like animals. And Gaza is the biggest cage, the most infamous cage in the world. Those people have been stuck in there for 16 years under siege. They've been under occupation for 50 years. What do you think they're going to do? Go out and blow kisses and shake hands? Come on, get real. Let's have some context. This didn't start last week. We are dealing with an apartheid state. Who says so? Manda Mandela, grandson of Nelson Mandela, told me when in Palestine he saw the worst apartheid he had ever seen. The worst apartheid he had ever seen. Desmond Tutu and the Israeli apologists will say, no, it's not apartheid. No, of course not. We just have different laws. For Arabs, we just have different roads for Arabs, we just have different schools for Arabs. What's apartheid about that? And what is happening? They're rounding up people in the West Bank at the moment, rounding up activists out of the Jenin camp, and they are taking them and putting them through military courts. Settlers go through civil courts. But for Arabs, it's military courts. But it's not apartheid. Of course it isn't. Israel is a nation that passed a nation-state law. And do you know what that law says? It says there are there's two categories of citizenship. One is for Jews and the other is for non-Jews. And full realization cannot be given to people who are not Jews. And this is a state where if I really wanted to, I could go down to the hospital, have a slightly unpleasant procedure done on me in certain areas, go to half an hour of a rabbi, snap my fingers and bang, I'm a citizen of Israel. Meanwhile, people whose families lived there for 1,000 years are denied return. What sort of state is this? Is this a democracy? Is this a freedom-loving liberal state? Come on. Pull the other one. I didn't come down with yesterday's rain. So what can we do, brothers and sisters? What can we do about this? What can we do about this death, destruction, injustice? When we sit and watch, we watch our TV screens in horror. We listen to the lies perpetrated by the mainstream media. What can we do? We can raise our voices, each and every one. You have an MP here, Jim McMahon, yeah? He's in the shadow cabinet. He thinks he's going to get a job in Starmer's cabinet when Labour win the next election. Well, Mr. McMahon, if you don't get any votes, you won't even be in Parliament, let alone in the cabinet. So let's play on these people. Get in touch with him, tell him, we are not going to vote for a party that endorses apartheid. We are not going to vote for a party that is complicit in ethnic cleansing and genocide. We are not going to vote for a party that sat back and supported 700 children killed this week in Gaza alone. 700 children. And what is the response of this government? They send the Royal Navy. And what is the response from Keir Starmer? Israel has a right to shut off the electricity. Israel has a right to stop the food. Israel has a right to stop the medicines. In London, the demonstrators, and I apologise for my language, shouted out, "Fuck Keir Starmer." Now, on a literal sense, I'll pass on that, because I'd rather lie down in a bed of used cat litter than go anywhere near the man. But we have to work outside of electoral politics. Put pressure on these people. Let them know. Let them know we do not stand with them. Not in our name. And lastly, Manda Mandela, grandson of Madiba, put out a post supporting resistance to oppression and occupation. And he said, Israel may raze Gaza to the ground. They may do that. but it will not stop the spirit of Palestinian resistance, and the end is inevitable. This is a turning point, brothers and sisters. The fact there are so many of you here is a turning point. This is the time when the world is waking up to the monstrous injustice that is Palestine. So, each and every one of you, when you go back to your work, when you go back to your schools, when you go back to your communities, your mosques, talk to people, talk to your neighbours. Don't let this go away. Don't let it just end when this conflict concludes. Keep coming out. Keep supporting. Keep fighting, because it's our rights too. They are trying to stop us, give it the right to protest. They're trying to say we can't wave a flag. They're telling us what we can say, what I can say. We're not going to have that. Are we going to have that? Are we going to keep fighting? So free Palestine, free Palestine, from the river to the sea, from the river to the sea. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Venceremos, we will conquer.